so we've pushed through sort of the automated stuff, getting us to the beginning of the Second Empire turn, which also goes into the 7 Years' War. So we'll be able to get both of those in. And that's kind of the thing, you know, a turn with a war, you know, I don't mind getting those two in one thing. So basically I'm going to be looking at 6 videos for this whole thing if I keep up at the same pace. Let's look at the interesting stuff. For the awards, so treaty points in each of those, a point in the North America, a lot of points in Europe again. That's very promising for the French, although there's a little bit of mitigation on it if the English can keep it in check. No real bonus from that Jacobite victory for this turn because I've already got the card deployed, so that doesn't matter. Remember, the English chose not to play a card. That's of some importance. New hands dealt out. Our mixture here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 6 events again. That means next turn there's not likely to be many events, so we might want to play out any events you want to have. The English are going to have to throw a card away. They have the initiative. The global demand. Furs and cotton stayed on the market. Sugar's been added, though, in replacement for the spices. Sugar is a valuable commodity, definitely. 3 victory points and a treaty point. The other 2 are 2 victory points and a treaty point. So all the commodities are kind of good. Nothing bad in any of them at this point in the game. What else? The war tiles set out. No bonus tiles carried over from the Austrian succession. That something that I did not notice at the beginning of the turn, last turn, or at the beginning of the time when we could play them out, was that the war bonus tiles that are accumulated don't have a continuing, not a continuing impact, but they do generate more war bonus tiles for the 7 Years' War, which is kind of cool. I just did not see that either time I played. So we're at the tricky point for the English, but they have the option to get rid of a card, ministry card, and they have to get rid of one of their events. So let's looky. I held on to that Austrian-Spanish rivalry, which needs the governance card and gives me a conflict in Spain, can be useful. And let's look at the wars because they're of some importance here. So we've got Atlantic dominance. That's going to be the squadrons in the Caribbean, Europe, and North America added together. That's the only points that are added to this, although you might have land generals or something. The victory for this, so there's an Atlantic dominance tile. It's a war bonus tile, which one side or the other can win by winning this event, and that goes into the French and Indian War. And the way this was worded, I did not understand it the first time. It took me I had to run down and look at the errata, see if there's any mention of it, what the hell. Because the only place this is mentioned is here, winner gets place Atlantic dominance tile, winner side up in the French and Indian War. Well, I'm thinking this is French and Indian War. Yeah, 7 Years' War, French and Indian, seems like the same thing to me. But no, they mean it goes as a war tile for here. No clarification. I don't think it was in the playbook in any way either. One of the interesting things is, and I think I mentioned this, the playbook has historical information on these markers, but no explanation of any special abilities. Now, that's fitting. For the most part, the bonus war markers don't have any don't have any clarifications that are needed. The cards, some of them do. Some of them have errata as well that would be useful to have printed somewhere rather than just online. I'm assuming it went out the door, before they could get errata inserted into the boxes or anything, which is a shame. I'd rather have a sheet of actual errata included in the game than go try to figure this stuff out. But, it's always changing because these things are rolling out the door too quickly. Even with many, many years of development, the final step just, isn't there. Okay. Above that, though, there are some naval losses that can come from this. But this isn't going to generate victory points in and of itself. That's kind of interesting. Okay. The Third Carnatic War is going to be in... Did we have the Second Carnatic War? What? There's one in here that we didn't see. That's going to be in India, obviously, and not a lot of points in it. You can go up to 2 conquest points. There's no victory points on it directly, and there's some treaty points to come with it. French and Indian War. Now, this is what's interesting. So, somebody else pointed out, hey, why is the slave trade such a minor thing in this? And I have to agree. That is kind of interesting. My feeling is probably a desire to avoid stepping on landmines. There is slaving contracts here, that you can go for from the Asiento. But yeah, slavery is not really being dealt with in this much at all. How much impact can it have? Is it just under the table other than that one counter? Yeah, unless you're going to make it a market good, and it really wasn't a conflict, it wasn't a point of conflict between France and England. England, essentially by taking the Asiento, ended up with the slaving power. What does this slaving contract give? How reasonable does it seem? 2 military points to construct a new squadron. I would say it probably actually gives more economic power than anything else. But who to? The Asiento itself is giving it to Spain, is giving the economic power to Spain. So that's not going to be a real issue. And you have slavery coming into the Caribbean and the colonies, certainly the southern colonies at the very least. But some in what counts as northern colonies here, Chesapeake, yeah. You have some significant slavery coming in no matter what. How much did that impact the global situation? Not much. But I'll tell you what did. The victory in the French and Indian War. And that's what I don't see in this game. Anything that directly connects to that. And we'll talk about that probably more in the review. But it's historically largely looked at as the reason the War of Independence, of American independence, happened was the complete victory and removal of the French as a threat in North America. Louisiana still existed, but that was far away. It was really the Canadian situation, the French-Canadian situation, which largely put a threat on the colonies. And whichever side won that, the others might have had some impact. In the case of the American Revolution, well, the fact that there was no longer a military threat from the French meant that the English army that was stationed there was no longer helping the colonists so much as hindering them from going off and causing problems by westward expansion that would incite Indians. So there was a lot of strain where the Brits were basically, had a fair-sized army still there and had a debt from the French and Indian War that the colonies didn't want to pay for, and that they actually, to some extent, objected to the existence of. So the removal of France as a threat has often been seen as one of the great causes of the War of American Independence, and would it even happen without it is one of the big questions. And it will in this game, and it doesn't seem to have much effect. Where could the effect be shown? The only thing that I see it in is the winner of the French and Indian War, which has Spain involved in it, conflict markers, forts, squadrons, the Navy in the New World. Okay. And it's actually on both maps, supposedly, which means you should be able to gain stuff on both maps, but this is where it gets kind of weird. There are only certain available territories listed: Hudson Bay, St. Augustine, Arcadia, Minorca, and Gibraltar. Well, this is one of the things that's just not too clear in my head, is this: what can you take for a territory? So taking control of a fort market, that's fine. Taking control of a territory, you must pay plus control of at least one fort naval connected by a conquest line. Theater spoils. Here we go. Okay, here are the things you can take. To take a fort, to take a territory, it must be located in the current theater. What is the current theater? Atlantic dominance, doesn't matter. This one, well, it's on two maps. What is the theater, right? Is it these bonus strength things? Does that mean you can only take things with a conflict marker on them on either map? I don't know. It's a very weird situation to try to describe what they're saying here. Okay, but it's a territory, so it won't have a conflict marker. It won't have a fort. So is there nothing that's in the theater except these available territories? And that's what I have to assume. So I don't know. If we look, we're on the wrong page here. If we look at the King George's War, the map is North America. Does that mean you can only take Hudson Bay, St. Augustine, and Acadia? I don't know. That seems really limited. If that's the case, you can never take the northern colonies off one of these. Is that fair? I don't know. Is that what's intended? Theater is not well defined. And again, I look here and theater is not here. There's lots of things that talk about theater. They're all in this rules section. And without a definition of theater there, is there a glossary? That would be helpful. There is here. A theater is a here we go. Each theater has its own. So theater is not actually defined here either as to what is involved in the theater. And it seems very strange to me if, for example, all of North America and the Caribbean is part of that theater, that you'd have locations, Hudson Bay, St. Augustine, Arcadia, Minorca, and Gibraltar. Okay, Minorca and Gibraltar are in Europe. That's fine. These others are on these two maps. Why are they being called out specifically? And if we look at the Carnatic Wars, which also have CPs, they say map India, conflict marker, forts, squadrons. None of these are listed. What's up? Where is the theater? Where is it not? There's no consistent rule. There may be something in the errata that tries to explain this. I don't know. My feeling is that the theater is everywhere where the conflict markers might count, which is on these two maps, I guess. In which case, what? Again, what's going on? And I really don't know the answer to that. To me, that's they left something, and I don't really care too much about it. I can live with it with either way, and I will play with it with whichever decision, that I came to, which is, I think largely that it's the map, but maybe not. Yeah, so in this particular case, Why are these being called out? I don't have an answer. Other than Minorca and Gibraltar, I do not have an answer. Because available territories is very specific, where it's located in the current theater or listed on the war display in the current theater's available territories box. Does that mean this is a limitation and it's not this whole thing? Or is this in addition and for some reason it copies the same things? Not clear. And I don't trust using logic in either case. I'm probably going to allow the French to grab northern colonies if they have that link from Halifax. You know, why not? Or Champlain Valley, you know, okay. Even though it's not spelled out here, and even though Hudson Bay is and would obviously be part of the theater, it's just not clear. Okay. And what do we got here? Well, we have a lot of victory points and conquest points. This is very valuable, and this is where the Atlantic dominance comes into play. It comes into play in what New World possessions can you grab. Prussia's wars all over Europe, and basically this is going to be, other than Spain, every location in Europe that has 3 dots. And Spain actually doesn't on the map. I had to draw them in because that's errata. So any 3 dots in Europe are going to count strength. And this is worth a fair amount of victory points. In fact, quite a few. 2 to begin with for just a 1-point swing. So Prussia's wars are important too. And remember, if you're going to say the War of Austrian Succession maybe didn't generate enough points, which we're going to call Central Europe, and it did not generate many, then we're going to have to say, well, look, you know, we're able to carry over the war materials from that card to this next one. So that has some impact. Okay. So yeah, we have 2 very interesting wars. What we don't have is a Jacobite problem. That's just reflected here. And I don't think there is one in the Revolutionary War either. In fact, there is no European war there. So the Jacobite wars are gone regardless. It's just a question of, hey, what's the status of that card from now on? And the French have kind of won. You know. Okay. Not sure why there's 2 counters for it, but whatever. Yeah, I've spoken long enough, and now I need to urinate. And I was actually upset enough that I went and checked the errata, did a quick search on theater. There's 2 mentions of theater. Neither one defines what one is. They're just really not defined as far as I can tell. Not well defined. So, again, I guess it's the whole map. I don't know. And because otherwise, there is no reason for there to be war markers going to all the locations on the board. Some of them don't show up in theater things. So, for example, Guadalupe, I don't believe that's on anything. I don't believe there's a war that can affect that if you go with some kind of more restrictive mention of theater. And there is a conquest line there, which means you can take it from there. The only other reason for it would be no, you can always take port, shipping location. So yeah, there's no reason for those markings to be on the board. But then again, there's no reason for Hudson Bay, St. Augustine, Arcadia to be listed on there. So I've got 2 things that that have no possible reason that each lend, you know, that lend support, because the only reason that they exist would be to clarify something or to specify something that they have no possible value in one direction. And yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at what the Brits can do. So the Brits have 4 cards here. What are they? First of all, I've got a scholarship in play. None of my cards are taken by that. This one is a governance. Shit. And I have some others. Mercantilism, style, and finance. I could replace with any of those. I have 2 governance cards. Do these work for me at all? This one, Farnese, place 1 control conflict marker in Spain. Remove a French bonus war tile from the next war. That would be this war. Still would be useful, and I can play it on any event, so it's not a big deal. Corsican, but it's, you know, maybe not that big a advantage, although the Prussian wars are valuable. But Spain's not involved in them. They're involved in the French and Indian War. Okay, Corsican Crisis. British intervene, shift Sardinia or Savoy. Neither of which make a damn bit of difference. Okay, so they count towards Europe, but nothing else. Bonus score, 1 victory point if France has no squadrons in Europe. That looks really likely. And I do not have the bonus there. I have it on this card, which I wish I had played instead of holding to get, you know, an extra point somewhere. Not necessarily a victory point, but... Okay, the War of Polish Succession. I would get 2 treaty points. And if I have the finance minister, I would be able to shift Russia. Russia is a big shift. That's 3 points for something that gives me a military value and is a prestige point. That's kind of nice too. And then the final is style. Huguenot refugees bring their crafts. You can put fur or cotton into global demand. This will be in addition to the global demands that are out here. You just throw an additional one out there. Cotton is already in. Fur is already in. I'm not going to want this one. So this one's definitely the card I'm discarding. What about the other things? Well, military and diplomacy events. There's a diplomacy event, there's a diplomacy event, there's a military event, there's a military event. I can fire both of those off no matter what. Governance versus... So the governance gives me a diplomatic bonus once per turn. And I can build a squadron a little cheaper. I have all my squadrons deployed, so that's kind of useful. I am not interested in this. I am not interested in this. How about this? Ignore the first 2 debt you take during each, taken as commerce each peace term, provided you use the debt. Why wouldn't you use it? Okay, well that's pretty cool too. But given that I have bonus, I'm going to get a victory point off this. That's probably as good as shifting Russia. And in addition, this might come in handy. I am going to stick with what I've got out there. I am going to force the French to go first. But we're not telling them that. Over to the French cards. The French have their things listed. They don't have a style. They don't really care. They're going first. Everything is preset for them, so let's just do them. Okay. Up to 2 conflict markers in markets or political spaces in India. Huh. Well, let's tilt this. I mean, certainly I may want to do that. Let's take a look at the events to see if there's any that are in short supply. The commerce event is in short supply. We're going first. If we want to do this, this is the time to do it. Are any of the others so much bigger that we need them? Kohong system. Draw a new global demand tile and then replace one of the turns demand tiles on this new one. Ooh, that's neat. And if I have scholarship, which I do not, I would get a bonus. And then a governance one, which also doesn't bonus me. Hey, this looks like that other one. No, never mind. I'm thinking I must be remembering this one. Okay, so this applies for both players. Raid on Halifax. Place a conflict marker in a British flagged market. I don't have governance, but this is kind of neat too. So, yeah. So I'm going to go for that economic one, just because it's in short supply, and we don't know what the English are going to do. I got a big debt bonus, which could be very useful. Okay. This comes with economic, and that up to 2 conflict markers in markets or political spaces in England, or in India. Whew. What's important? Cotton's important. Well, I am going to mark the raids and incursions, and if I can figure that out, that's this one. I'm going to put a conflict marker here to try to remind me that I shouldn't use that, because this isn't available to be used, but if I clear the conflict marker, I can use it immediately. So it's a little different from, it's not on here. Okay, and then the other one could be anywhere. See, spices, oh, that's fine. Spices don't matter. Cotton matters. I am going to place it here. Wait, that's already isolated. Screw that. I will place it up here, which is not. Okay. And cause the English more problems. That gets rid of the Bengal famine. Now, I got 2 diplomacy and 3 money-wanies. The diplomacy is in one location. What am I looking to do? Well, I would love to take Europe. In terms of these, sugar seems to be where the fight is. And I got all kinds of things available. Shit. Okay. So I still get a bonus for this. Each action round that you do an advantage in Europe. I am going to exhaust the debt one, because I like exhausting that, and that gets me a treaty point. And that didn't cost me anything. Where do I want to play the dip? I could play that over here. Don't want to do that. Oh, those are in Europe anyway. The Caribbean has sugar. I can do sugar cheaper. Am I next to any English sugar that I want to unflag? I am. Basically, I'm looking to use these things up. What am I getting that off of? I don't know. What the hell is this? Fruit. That is off of this. Okay. Not likely I'm going to lose that. But yeah, I want to use my things. Okay, so I'm going to spend 1 to remove this and 2 more to place it as I'm increasing my holdings in sugar. The English basically don't have any. Great. I don't have any Huguenots to play. Now I've got my dip. What am I going to do with my fucking dip? I could just grab this, and that gives me... So the reason to do this is to get to deny the English that shit, really. And I think I'm going to do that, because that's a prestige space. It's available right now, and I do not want them having that. And of course, you know, the first thing that my eyes lay onto that's pretty good, I just do, right? As opposed to trying to assess all the things that are pretty good out there. That looks pretty decent, and Europe is important. Now, I have a huge advantage in Europe, but grabbing this would increase a flag, a prestige, and give them something that is powerful on the map. It's powerful only in this period. That's an important factor. But I think denying that from the English is of some value. I need to break. You know, I mean, that's the thing. I figure out one, you know, I put the amount of thought that I think is necessary to play this game, and probably not sufficient to play it well, but necessary to play it even partially competently. And I've put so much thought in that I'm exhausted after playing one piece. Mentally exhausted. That's not something I appreciate, to tell you the truth. I like the game for what it is, but I would hate to play this. I mean, you know, 2 players a little different, and the fact that it is a 2-player game makes it a little bit better. But what I really hate about those big multiplayer heavy Euros that are similar to this is that you're sitting there trying to figure out all this optimization, and then there's a whole bunch of other people sitting around the map. You know, you're not just wasting one other person's time doing this. It's fine, you know. You find in a 2-player game, you find somebody who's at your speed in terms of that kind of thing, and whether they're willing to accept it or not, and that all works. But when you're looking at 4, 5, 6 people at the table, it's probably split. You know, there's a couple of people who are really AP prone and think they can calculate everything and can't. And there may be a couple of people who are really, really capable of kind of grasping what they should do without thinking. And they're just kind of like, well, just take your turn, do something. And then there are people who are kind of the just take your turn, do something, but don't have a clue and are making stupid moves all over the place. Which, fine if you're not, you know, interfering with someone, whatever. But I don't play games for the most part where there's no interference with other people. So something, you know, I guess eventually with enough plays, you start getting to the point where it becomes semi-automatic. Although I got to tell you, in 18XX, I have seen very few people who can play without taking a few turns where they have to really digest the situation. And, you know, this is among 18XX players who are used to it. And this feels like it's got almost as much of a hammer in play. The truth is you're just optimizing and it's incremental. It's not like 18XX where one little move can slam the whole thing. I doubt that there are many such moves in this game. All right, so both my events I have backups for. I want to make sure to get my victory points before France gets its. So I'm going to flip up this. I'm going to grab one of the diplomatic events. They're almost equal. One is military, one is economic. Which am I more interested in eating is kind of the question. I have a military problem. I don't have a ship. So what's going on with this? Once per turn when taking diplomatic action, you receive an extra point which can be spent shifting non-prestige political spaces. So that I'm already doing. Once per turn I can pay 2 to construct a new squadron instead of the usual 3. I have a lot of treaty points. So yeah, I'm going to take the military one and build myself a squadron because that's a deal. Except I took the wrong one. All right. So the first thing is I have governance, so I get the bonus. I can shift Sardinia or Savoy. I'm not sure I see much difference in either, except that I can take the Italy influence away. And I don't know what that is. Is that this one? Or start towards this one. I think taking this away is better. And what is it? It's just shift. So yeah, the French lose this. They can regain it, and probably will. But and then France has no squadrons in Europe, so I get a victory point, which is the real reason I did this. Victory points are worth something, you know, I mean, they're really worth something. Okay, now I have that military, I'm going to blow that and build myself a boat. Because it's early in the turn, I've got another war turn coming up. And the naval dominance thing, so that's important. And now I have 3 diplomacy. I could take an extra one on shifting a non-prestige political space. Question is it worth fighting for Europe? France can get 2 points for it. That's the problem. Or am I more interested in victory points that I can get elsewhere? Notably in North America, like I could grab the Algonquins. I think a political main action has to be used in Europe. So let's see what we're going to do. We don't want that there. I am going to spend a treaty point. Military was my minor. I can't. Okay. So, and yeah, that didn't clear away because it involves, it was not involved in any of the war. It wasn't part of one of the theaters, I think. Again, theater's not well defined, but this was not included in the theater. It very specifically is not. So I'm going with that. Gosh, I don't know. What is the deal here? I can get an extra one for a non-pointy space. Where it matters. Yeah, that's hard to tell. I mean, nothing matters multiple places is the problem. Prussia's wars are valuable. The French and Indian War is valuable. Extra one. Is that all? So I could have 4. Yeah, I'm going to fire this off and take my 4. I mean, it's not really worth taking that away. That's a prestige space. That's a prestige space. These aren't. Where's the Central European conflict? Is that this one? Yes. So I can take that away from him. Oh, that's a 3-point space. Jeez. Bother. That's the problem. There are a lot of diplomacy kicking around. There's a fair amount of diplomacy. Let me hold off on this and let me take this space away, which gets rid of this. And we'll just call that good. And these markers should be where I can reach them more easily. That puts us back to the French. And boy, that was hard to do. It really was. I'm finding maybe I'm just wearing down, you know, in terms of the excitement. I know I never really felt comfortable the first time through, but now I'm kind of feeling like, geez, all this Euro crap. Definitely feeling a fatigue here. So I got 2 of these, which are interesting because, I don't know, there's some reason. It's like I just don't fucking care now. I don't know what happened. It was just like a light turned off on this turn in terms of like giving a shit about the game anymore. I just feel like I'm playing a Euro and not interested at all, which is how I felt through the first game. I don't know if it's a fog or whatever, but neither of the French events is terribly interesting to me. And there's plenty of events available. So I feel like I want to grab the best counter I can, which is probably one of these 6-pointers. This one's rare. I don't know. Just not giving a shit at all. At all. It's like none of this fucking matters. I have a capability here that allows me to draw a new global demand tile if I don't like the results I'm getting towards the end of the turn. But right now, one economy would get me into here. One diplomacy would, well, one economy would get the Brits out of here. One diplomacy would get the Brits out of there, which might be useful. Have they used that up? I don't know. Is this the raids and whatever? Yes. So, but that's frozen right now. That's why. I have plenty of chits to play. I just feel like I have this pile of things I could do, and my brain's, you know, it felt like my brain was hitting more cylinders at least during the first few turns. But now it just feels like, what am I doing? Why? What's going on here? And I have no idea. I mean, I didn't feel this kind of slowdown last time. I just felt kind of bogged down all throughout. I just feel like I can't make a fucking decision at all. And like, I'm looking at tiles and drawing a complete blank in my mind as to, yeah, so what? And I know I felt it kind of excited earlier, and was enjoying this more than I should. Wow, this is really weird. Okay, well, I want to find a European thing I can do. So, I got 2 that require diplomacy. Both, well, this is -1, and this is German diplomacy. So I got to look that up to see what the fuck that does. German diplomacy. Pay 1 DP to unflag Russia. Well, that's not what it says. I know that the thing is right. So I've got 2 things. So I want a major dip action. So I will take one of these. Because, yeah, whatever. There, the decision's been made. And that's the real problem. I wasn't keying in. The little teeth in my brain weren't keying in on what I needed to do to get this. Okay. So, I'm not getting an event off this. So I get to fire something off. Which one do I want to do? Silesia or the German? The German is Russia, Sweden, or Bavaria. Silesian is Prussian or German states. Huh. I don't want to do either. Okay, never mind. We choose again. We try this again. Let's try thinking again. So these 2 don't work. I don't have a European thing. I'm not going to get the bonus off anything. I certainly don't want to pick a diplomatic because of that. That's what I say. So an economic would get me to play in fur, where things are probably close. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, 2, 3. Yeah. We can play in fur. Is fur as good as the other things? Well, it's not as good as sugar, but it is, I don't think. Sugar is over here. But it's as good as cotton. I don't have any bonuses in sugar. And I'm already in the lead there, I think. It looks like it. So, what do I want for cotton? Or fur. Okay, so I want a coin advantage, I think. Is there one? There isn't a major coin. Wow, that sucks. So then, Carnatic Coast doesn't help me. India Wait, which one is this? This is textiles. Is that anywhere in India? Because that's what it looks like. Yes. Okay, but are there any threes that the British are sitting on? They are not. Okay. So that becomes disadvantageous. So, like, I don't want to spend a 2-point card to unflag that as a minor action, and there are no coin cards here. So that means, yeah, this is the problem. There's no good decision. The fur market, was that available to me? Well, again, I could unflag for one less. No, one total unflag. That's not too bad. Maybe we want to do that. So what has a minor coin? Let's go to this. I guess. All right. I am going to, what is this worth? This is worth +2. That's kind of nice. I am going to use the unflagging first. So let's mark this. One total to unflag something. I'll unflag that. That way, you know, I still waste a coin, but whatever. Now I got 4 military. Do I want to shift spaces in Scotland or Ireland? Maybe. Doesn't look like it. These aren't involved in the war. Screw them. So we'll do military stuff. Well, we haven't done military stuff in a while. I'm going to draw a bonus chip for 2. I might build a fleet, but... And the thing with fleets is these squadrons count for this, which gives me a bonus, which count for this. They're promising. Let's build a fleet. Yeah. I don't know. Two counters is worth more. So that fleet is worth 1 towards this. And then 1 towards this, plus a possible 2. But instead, let's draw one of these, because this is probably worth 2. It is. I will put it here. Let's see what we're doing there. Yeah, we're pretty strong there. And I will draw another one. And I get Bougainville, another good one. Do we want to keep going on the Atlantic dominance? No, we're going to throw this one. We're going to throw this one down in the French and Indian War. We want to win that, I guess. And I am once again exhausted. Crap. There's a bonus tile on the board. It's time to play this finally. Okay. So you have the governance bonus. I have to find something. What do I not want to use? I don't particularly want to use a military because I might trim myself out. But military is what there is. How are my gil? Honestly, I think the swap is worth doing. So I'm going to grab one with a swap. I'm not going to think too much about everything that I'm going to do. Because that's where you get tied up and where I lose my brain in this. All right, I am drawing a basic war for this. Yeah, I guess that's a little better. And out of the game with that. Okay. So, that shouldn't have happened. First this, place a conflict marker in Spain. Hell yeah. There you go, France. Deal with that. And remove a French bonus war tile from the next war. Which one do we want to remove? We remove this. And again, I'm going to discard it like that. Maybe it's supposed to be shuffled in, but I don't want to deal with it. Okay, now I have 2 military and 2 economic. The military, I definitely want to get a fleet on the board. That only cost me 1. Let's look at the economic first. What are we doing here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're losing there. Sugar. Oh, we're not in good shape in sugar. 1, 2 to nothing. Well, that blows chunks. Can't remove this with the economic. Oh, but I can do things. Right? I got an unflag in North America. Yeah, it reduces it by 1. Am I next to a French 3? I am not next to a French 3 I want to deal with. Am I next to a French 3? Yes. Cotton's in the game. We're going to spend our 2 economic to unflag that. No, can't unflag on a minor. Son of a bitch. Can't remember the rules. Yeah, so without an economic major, these become shit unless I get a bonus. Okay. So Caribbean in an unprotected market. Let's do that. Let's put that, because the sugar's so important. You can't reach this. This is the only one we can reach, isn't it? We could beat up on the Spaniards. Oh. Yeah. I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to unflag for 1. Can't unflag. Son of a bitch. Okay. I'm going to buy a flag, I guess. I can't think straight. Is there a flag I can buy? No. Nope, can't do shit. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a fucking clue anymore. Let's try again. Okay. 2 economic. What the hell am I going to do with 2 economic where I can't unflag? Yeah, because I'm so cut off here. Cotton. Yeah. I guess. Let me see. How bad am I in cotton? I don't know. I'll go up there. Okay. Now, I got 2 military. This is protected. That's 1. Where's another military? Oh. This is unprotected. I could do that. That's 2, so I spend a treaty point to do that. And I call this good, and I'm not in any mood to keep going. Alright, I hope that was just COVID fog happening there. So let's take a look. The French have, I had dinner and such not in Aspen, so maybe it'll clear up. The French have a diplomatic event, and there's only 1 diplomatic event tile available. And I'm looking, and I'm behind in at least 1 market. I'm behind in the cotton market. So replacing the cotton market seems like a reasonable choice. But let's take a look at some of the other markets that are out there. The fur market, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm at even in the fur market and may be able to do stuff there. I gotta look at the English. You see, they have an unflagged, but they have 1 in both. They also have a fur market marker, so they can compete pretty nicely in the fur market. I may be better off in cotton. And then the final market that's out there is sugar, which I am very much in the lead in. So I don't want to tinker with sugar. So I don't have much capability to play with the fur market. It is equal to the cotton market. So I am going to pick this. This has a 2-point piece on it. I could smack in English. I am going to hit the fur market. So I play this off this event. I draw a new global demand. For this, I'm going to roll a die. Yes, I could throw them in the cup from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we replaced fur. with fishies. Much better. Now, fish are only worth 2 victory points, but that's pretty good still. And we have a slight edge in the fish market. Yes, we still have to play against the English have this, which can work for them, but they have less power total. Okay. That means I want to play in the cotton market, I think, to see if I can win that over. Of course, I got to think here too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 English to 3, 4, 5, 6 French. So I'm behind there too. Now there's only a treaty point at stake there, but that's okay. Let's do my minor if I can get it in there. You know what? There isn't a cotton that's easily available to me. I can't play the unflag. This doesn't help me, so I'm not going to go there. I will increase either my fish or my sugar. I'm more worried about the sugar. It's worth more than either of the others. So I am going to flag Antigua. And now my 3 dip. What do I want to do with my dip? Well, I have things here. That doesn't help. Russia, Sweden, Bavaria. That doesn't help. Okay. I would love to play one of these to get this. Can't do it. Can't do the unflag here. The Carnatic Coast I don't really want to play. Although, no. I have nothing in any of those. Where does my dip go? I want to play for Europe some more, I think. I don't know. I don't know. Can't use this shit. Oh, 3 military can get me a couple of victory points. 3 victory points, to tell you the truth. Oh, that's why you need multiple Jacobite victory markers for that card to score. Okay. So, yeah. 3 debt, huh? I have no debt. I have a bunch of treaty points. I am not going to get another dip card. Well, I might. I'm probably going to play a military, though, for various reasons. So, deet, and I do feel smarter. Let's spend 4 of that. That uses a treaty point. Anywhere else I want to drop points in Europe? This isn't very useful. This is interesting, but I don't know. You know, it's not really worth that. I don't have any military to clear up Spain. That's an issue. I'll pull Prussia more into the war than they are. There's a prestige point in Sweden. How am I doing on prestige? I am doing pretty damn well in Europe. I'm going to let it hold right there and ride with that. Because, yeah, it could be useful to take more things, but screw that, man. Which brings it over to the English. Let me think. That's super interesting to me. I want to play this, I guess. Which one? I will play it for this to get some economics, I think. Let me consider where I'm going to place that economic. I don't think I can win the sugar markets. I can get myself deeper into the fish market, but French have 2. I could go to 2 as well. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to play this. I am going to fire off the event. Greater ties with Russia gain 2 Treaty points. Oh, geez, I have a ton of treaty points. I've got another card coming. I could blast a lot of treaty points on military. There are other possible reasons for this, though. Once per turn. These both have military, but I don't really want to do that. I don't get the shift. Let me discard. Okay. Fur market, less important than it used to be. Caribbean, real important. That could get me into the sugar play. North America, -1 to deflag. Unfortunately, I am not near anything. So unless I could put a boat out, which I can, I can't do that deflagging. So I'm going to put this out with a military. That leaves me with 2 remaining military. I could get rid of this and open up my raids and insurrection, I think is what this is, which is worth a conflict and a marker in India. Worth doing. Worth doing. Especially with this fort here that's kind of out on its own. Yeah, let's play with that. So let's... Oh no, that's a -1 to unflag. Do I want to unflag India? Yeah. That's what I'm going to use it for. Although I'd really like... No, I went to do that fish. Let's do it in the fish land. We'll unflag. Minor, can't do it. Shit. Damn it to hell. Is this the card I want? Do I want to put that boat there? What the hell? Oh, I hate the fucking minor restriction. Well, I'm not going to get a major economic. So putting that boat there doesn't make sense, particularly. It makes sense to put it somewhere, but it doesn't necessarily make sense to put it there. So I could tie myself up in fish, which sounds kind of gross. Or is there a way for me to get sugar? I can't easily get sugar. Long run, where do I want that boat? That's the question. What do I want? Let's fuck the military. Screw that. Can't do an unflag in either case. I have a fur market and a Caribbean in an unsupported market. Okay. Let's hit a French fur market. Kind of doesn't matter which one. We'll do that one. Okay, the Caribbean. I could just clear this up and cause an Indian problem. Okay, what did I just do? I just put one in the fur market. I'm allowed one more in a different region. I gotta keep track of that different region aspect too. Can't unflag, but I could do this. That was the key, wasn't it? Maybe. Okay. Where would a boat help me? This boat might help. I don't know. I'm kind of lost now. I lost track of what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm still not good. So I spent one special ability. I can do that. That's fine. No big deal with that. The other is I got to do the military. Okay, this is 2 to clear because it's a unsupported. And I got 1 more military. I don't know that I want to put my boat out yet. I have a ton of fucking treaty points that I got to use. Probably be on dip. So what am I doing with my boat? I am going to put my boat somewhere. Where does my boat go? Sugar is worth more than fish. I'm going to put my boat out at Antilles. Yeah, at Antilles. To cause some issues there. That's my 3 military. I don't know if I want to spend more military, so let me think about what the rest of my turn is going to be. I can hit 1 Indian market. I can do that anyway. Let's do that. And I'm not allowed to unflag, but I could flag something cheap. But I can hurt an Indian market. Can't get it yet, but that's okay. That's conflict over there. I'd rather do it in the Caribbean, but we'll do that later. We got one here. Do I need more military? I am going to spend 2 of my treaty points on grabbing a bonus shit, and I'm going to put it in the Atlantic dominance pile. Ooh, that's a nice one. Yeah. Now I have 2 economic, which I wanted to spend to flag something. This is a 3rd economic. That's cotton. That's worth something. But fish is worth almost as much as cotton. Let's put it in the fish one. Okay, that kills this. The hard part is I have so many treaty points. I gotta be kind of careful because I want to use them over in Europe. But can I get away with something good? And this is gone. The French have 1 more. They have their war token. Do I want it? Yep. Okay, I think. Place a conflict marker in a British flagged marker. Doesn't have to be in North America. I do not get the bonus. Phew. Okay. British sugar is not a conflict. That's the first one. Cotton is worth 3. Fish, oh, I'm sorry, I'm over here. Cotton's worth 2. Fish are worth 2. The cotton's worth a little bit more. I could still lose cotton if I don't have it, right? So he's at 1, 2, 3. And we're at 1.5. That's not good. Okay, that sucks. Fish, we're at a disadvantage on 2. So I'm going to drop this up here. Conflict markers affect this, so that's cool. And place a conflict in 1 British flag market. I don't get anything for that. I got a couple of these. Neither of those works. Carnatic Coast. Do I want to place one? I don't know. Probably doesn't give me much effect. I'll put it there. We'll see what that does. That may actually help the Brits. That's the problem. I can't use any of the European ones. My military. So Here's the problem with the military. I want to do my military. 1, 2, 3. Not right. They're 2 points each. Fuck. 2. Okay. I can let Spain go. 2, 4. That costs me a treaty point. Okay. I don't have a lot of other stuff. I do have some debt that I can play with. My diplomacy. We want to win Europe. Can't unflag. Can't do anything too exciting. 2-point diplomacy. This can't be played in later. I don't know what happens to those. Like, does that space disappear? So I'm going to place here for 2. And that eats this. I got to look that up, though. Am I screwed for taking this space that had this German diplomacy? Does that go away? Or is it just nobody can play in that once I'm there, and now I have German diplomacy for the rest of the game? And I can't afford to leave alone. Where did I remove my markers from? I removed one from here. I want that one gone. The other one was down here, and for cotton, I am at 2 cotton, and the English are at 3. I am going to leave that. That actually gives me 2 points back. The reason is, for 1 more point of debt, I can trigger this. And this gets me 1 for each French flagged space on the Jacobite victory track. Well, I got 4 of them right there. So that gets me 4 victory points. Can't let that go by. That was absolutely a vital play down there. But again, you know, you forget things. So that was something the British should have dealt with. It's worth 1 debt to do. It's worth maybe losing the Carnatic War to do. Right. I got a lot of debt open. I did not look up that rule. The way this is worded up here says empire only. Okay. But over here, some political spaces are unavailable early in the game. Prussia has 2 spaces available at the start, and 2 more become playable at the beginning of the empire area. Likewise, the Sons of Liberty are available only at the beginning of the revolutionary era. Yeah. Well, that's fine. The empire only, I think it's empire and past from the rulebook. I will go down and check the damn errata on this, because the 2 are in disagreement again. But I got to tell you, if this is empire only, as which fits, because Frederick makes Prussia really great, and then Prussia becomes less important towards the end of the period by far. If that is meant to disappear, I don't know what that means. And there's no way to resolve empire only that makes sense to me without maybe something much more complicated. But there is a way to represent, hey, those just appear and they stay for the rest of the game, which is what happens with this, and which is what the rules seem to imply. It only mentions the word empire once in relation to these 2 spaces, saying they are nothing special for being green. That was an oops. And even the way they're worded, it's in congruence with what the rules say, as opposed to this empire only statement there. So we're going to go with what the rule book says, and we're lost here. We're looking for the English. How are they going to do things? Well, they have no choice as to token. 4 diplomacy plus a lot of treaty points. What can I do? Oh, 4 diplomacy. Well, oops. I got some things here. I got a Caribbean one I want to play. That's for sure. Does this work? Does this kill them? They're at 2, and the English are at no sugar. It does add a battle in the Caribbean, though. So, fine. We'll go with that. Can't play either of those because I don't have the right kinds of points. For diplomacy, I have a lot of diplomacy available. I have up to 9. What are we looking at here? We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 French and 1 English. We are not going to win this. What is the effect of Prussia's wars? Victory points. This game could be over if I'm not careful. Oh boy. Prestige points. Because yeah, we got 3 victory points here. 2 for prestige. How many prestiges are we looking at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, to 1. We're not going to win that. Okay. Okay, where are we? We're at 1 fish to 2 fish. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. We could cancel that out with our military piece. That gets us a military point in the war as well. It might not be as good as some other things, but that's what we got. We've got, oh geez, that's not us. Okay, good. We got problems oozing out our ass here. How about here? 1. We're not caring about the points there. We're caring about this. 1, 2, 3 to 1. We're winning that commodity. The sugar commodity. We're going to lose the sugar commodity. There's not much I can do about that. Well, one of the problems is I got 4 treaty points. That's the only thing I can really do much with. Not good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. I could grab these 2. No, I could grab this one. That's not enough to get me the victory there. Okay, that sucks. Yeah, I think the English are going to lose here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Great. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I can chase the French. Right then. Yeah, you gotta balance a lot of stuff because what I'm looking at doing is using my, so here's the problem. My military points can only go in one space. I could clear this fish sheet with them, but my treaty points don't work, and I can move a ship on board and oust a French ship. That could do me some good. Let's count again here. Boink, 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 boink. Okay, I am well ahead here, so I could move a ship. But this gets me 1. Moving the ship is worth 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I would need another one, which I could do with a treaty point to tie that up. Okay. So I am going to spend my 2 military to shift a ship from where? See, this is my way into these. This is protecting these. Spend 2. That's the military. The dip. I do have a lot of points left, but this is... I can only do 1 military action. That's the problem. And did I do that right? Do I have to spend a point on something? I believe moving a squadron, as long as it's on the board, is cheap. Yeah, it's 2 to oust. Okay. That means I need a treaty. 2-point treaty gets me the Algonquin. Okay. That has me now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've tied. We've gotten rid of a point from there. Over here, we're not really worried about the points. So, I spend another treaty point to get me to Europe. Or another... Yeah, I didn't spend any treaty points. I spent 2 to get the Algonquin. I could grab something over here, the Buccaneers or whatever. I don't think I need them. I'm not really worried about... This does not generate victory points, so I don't really need that. Much as I might want something for later. That puts me to 2 diplomatic points left. What can I do with those 2 diplomatic points? I could remove this, but that's not worth anything right now to the French. So that's not a problem. Prestige points is a problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1. I'm just not going to be able to do that. I don't have that many treaty points. I'm also not going to be able to do the other side. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm not going to be able to drop him by enough to do anything. All I've got is these dip points, but I got to do what I can do. Okay, so I spent 2 treaty points. I spent a third to shift over, or 2 dip points. Put one there. We got, and no, screw that. We got to get rid of some of this shit. That doesn't matter. Spend another treaty point. Get rid of this one instead. 3 more treaty points. Get rid of that. I'm going to have to get some debt. I'm just so screwed that I'm going to lose the war if I don't do something here. Okay. Get rid of that. I got 2 more. Got anything else worth 2? Yeah, I can buy an alliance. Buy an alliance up here in Sweden, which matters for this war. It's not enough, but I have spent everything I can to try to avoid losing the game, and I'm out. Should I have done that? Probably not. I think I've got nothing, though. Okay. Fuck it. Yeah. Well, we don't have to discard our treaty points now. Scoring. Okay, Samuel Johnson comes into play here, and nothing else does. And those 4 points were huge. Doing that is what's going to give the French the game, actually, I think. Okay, so scoring phase. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. But 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No points awarded here. Could I have gotten points somehow? No. No. No, because there's nothing that could have given nothing I could have used in diplomacy to get points for, and my military could have gotten me a point here, but this was the more valuable trade off. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, nothing there, but the French only get a treaty point off that. Because it's not worth much. Europe. And this is where we lose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2. French get 3 points, except Samuel Johnson drops that down to 2. Prestige, I think the French still get it. This is where things might have gotten wrong. 3 French prestige, 2 English prestige. I was not able to squeak out enough points. Could I have prevented that with 2 more points? No, there's not another 2-point space. So I could have taken that from there and given them a victory point. But there's not another space that I could use 2 points to get a prestige from. So the French get 2 more. They haven't won yet, though. We got to finish the scoring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the Brits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the French. The Brits get a treaty point. Okay, commodities, fishies. French have 2 fishies. English only have 1. Fish are worth 2 victory points. 2. Okay. Sugar. 1, 2. 2. Nothing for the English. That's worth 3 victory points and a treaty point. And finally, cotton, where the English have 1, 2, 3 to the French 1. We get 2 victory points and a treaty point. That slides us down to this. The English have lost at the end of the turn because the French passed their auto win. We don't go to the war. Let's resolve it as a post-game thing. But yeah, I wanna kind of look at, geez, what happened to the English? Why did they get behind the barrel so much? This was huge. This generation of treaty points. Is this an error? I don't know. Maybe I better look and see if this is a once per turn in the errata. It's not mentioned in the errata. And it wasn't just this. It was setting up the Jacobites. The British ignoring that. You know, that hurt the hell out of me in victory points. And in my prior game and earlier in this game, it felt like whatever you did kind of balanced out. But like I said, there are chances that you can really slit your wrists, and I feel like the English did so by ignoring that, by letting Europe get powerful, so powerful they couldn't possibly take it away. Remember, another thing I said was you want to stay kind of even in every realm. Well, they didn't. But here's the thing. While they didn't stay even in Europe, they weren't kicking ass on all the other continents, right? So it's not like this 3-pointer showing up here was the deal. The deal was those extra points from this, the extra treaty points, which are extra actions that were just coming free. The manipulation of the debt that the French did, that was huge. And then the Jacobites. I don't think any one of them, stands out on its own. But I think the Brits were in a lot of trouble really getting down in terms of board position overall. The French had a winning combination that just came out. And didn't just come out, but a combination of events that they got and things that those events sparked them to do. Some of that's psychological, you want to take advantage of the counters you have, etc. But this, combined with European uh, action tokens is really potent. There's not a lot I can say about the game as a whole in terms of strategy. I'm just trying to identify why did this game go so much further in one player's advantage than the last game. And you end up, the last game, I went through the whole game, and it was fairly close. The French did win that one too. But I felt like that could have gone either way. This one, I felt like the French came up with a combination that the English allowed to happen that just kicked their ass. The game may not be balanced. I can't make a statement one way or the other on that. Certainly my misplaying and allowing the French to grab certain good combinations, well, better knowledge of the game would mean I wouldn't allow that. You know, I wouldn't allow that Jacobite card to be used as potently as it was. I would possibly lose elsewhere, though, in trying to defend against it. That's the thing. Because, yeah, I got unlucky with Europe, that being the continent that I wasn't winning on. But if I was spending my points against the Jacobite card, I'm in trouble. If I was spending my points preventing some of these action tokens, though, that complement this card, that might have helped. Because that is a very powerful card, generating an extra resource basically every action phase through the treaty points. Okay, let's do the war that would have happened here, just to see this one more time. So we'd flip these over. There'd be a debt, great. The British are a +1 over here. Squadrons in Caribbean, Europe, and North America. So British are a +1, +2, yeah, they're the naval power. +3, that's it. +3. They would get the dominance tile. As a military tile over here. And the loser would lose a squadron from the map to the naval box, or the naval box to the unbuilt. I think the French only have one squadron on the board. It was sunk. Okay, the Carnatic War. The French are at +2. They get another debt. They've gotten 2 debt off this war so far. That's a big deal, but the English ran their debt up, you know, assuming they somehow survived. Okay, conflict markers in India. That puts them to +1. Forts. Did the English get a fort? They got a fort, so that brings it to 0. And then squadrons brings it down to a 1-point English victory. I'd get a conquest point. The French would get a treaty point. I'll mark their treaty point. What the hell? If I marked the debt, I might as well. The conquest point, well, this fort could take this, and that really weakens things over here, although they're already kind of weak. It weakens this. Another option would be to take this. Oh no, I already have that. Yeah, the French are pretty hosed. We'll do that. The French are pretty hosed in India, to tell you the truth. They're not in good shape at all. But losing India doesn't count towards losing the game, you know, compared to losing the game. Over here in the French and Indian War, the English are going to get a debt. That would be a victory point. The French get a debt as well. I don't know why I'm moving this, but so now the points are +2 to +2, and the bonus points in Spain, no. Conflict markers. All right, now this is the question. What's the theater? I don't know. You know, is it North America and the Caribbean? Is Spain part of it because they're on here? I think so. So that's 1 in favor of Britain for the conflict marker. Even. 1 in favor of Britain for the conflict marker. Forts. Who has forts? The French take that 1 away. I think that's it. So now we're at even again. And then the squadrons in the Caribbean and the North Atlantic, that brings it to 2 points for the Brits for the French and Indian War. A 2-point gets them 1 capture point and unflag a North American marker. What marker do we want to unflag? We could unflag this. That's in range, though. This one is just dicky. And we would conquer something. What can we conquer? Not much. We could take something valuable away from the French, but what I'd rather do is create a fort at Halifax. Another option would be to create Ohio Forks. Both are valid. Halifax looks like it's going to be pressuring the fishies, which I think become more valuable than the fur in the next period. And the next period is coming right up. And then here in Prussia, they would get to destroy either a squadron or a fort. Damage a fort or knock a squadron back. Neither one is applicable. So the French start out at +1. In Austria, +2. Bavaria, +3. Denmark, Norway, +4. Dutch Republic, +4 still, no move. German states, no move. Prussia, +5. They have one of the Prussian spaces. Russia, no. Sweden brings it down to +4. The net is +4. There's no conflict markers marked here. Don't have to worry about them. +4 for France would give them 3 more victory points. If they hadn't won the game already, but it was close to that edge, this would probably push them over, the big victory point game. So again, Britain was really hosed here at the beginning. All right, I'm going to load this sucker up, and I'm kind of glad it's over. Having played through it entirely once, playing again was painful, but I'm kind of disappointed that I can't show you more of the game on the video. On the other hand, I've played I've played more than enough of it for my own feelings about it to kind of gel a little bit more. Obviously, I can't tell you anything about, its long-lasting competitive quality. That's the kind of thing, you need maybe a dozen plays under your belt or close to that to really have even a fair feeling about. But at least with my play and kind of naive play, we're seeing France, they won both games. So their ministry cards may have advantages, or it may be that I'm just not seeing something that England can do that works a little better than I think it does. I choose my ministry cards based largely on what my events are, and that's one of the problems. So like something like this could generate a pile of victory points each turn. It's worth up to 5 victory points if you grab the right things with it. Well, probably 3. Yeah, 3 is the limit there. This one can be painful. This is big. Being able to ignore the first 2 debt you take during each peace turn, provided you use the debt. That, a couple extra bucks. But again, there's not the kind of synergy there is for this. This is 4 victory points. That thing was 3. This is harder, I think, to arrange, though. That's the problem. You have to be in placement for textiles and silk. That's over in India. Fine. Fruit and rum, which is over here in the Caribbean, and fur here. That's a lot of diplomatic points, if I'm catching it right. Some of them may not be. But, like Asiento, no, that's the slaves. The rum comes off Puerto Rico. That's not trivial for the English to get. So, maybe with less naive play, you can arrange so that your East India Company is going to be good a little easier. But it felt like, hey, I'm keeping up with the game through that first period for this game, and through most of the game for the last game. It's just the French slowly edged their way forward. Now, the last game, the French went big on advantage tiles, and the Brits did not. And I felt like that was the difference. So I tried to get some advantage tiles here. But it feels like you have to be careful as to the synergies you get. And the particular event cards that I had for the French aligned nicely with what just ended up kind of happening, trying to follow them. So again, maybe you need to look at, to understand the game a lot better, to be able to play it well no matter what. But that may mean that you're less dependent on the cards you get. The cards you get are just a bonus to your strategy if they fit it. And that's a little less pleasing than like, I'm just following the cards I get and doing what I'm doing. Anyway, let's send this up.